to see what happens. I would imagine, though, that given the respawns and the sundry locations, Connery isn't going to let the tech plant fall, and they're going to get the SU back up. And Barrack Electrical Force has moved on to high roads.
They've actually moved to both the bases that they can attack down in the south here. And Connery owns all 3 points. At NC Arsenal, they have put a very large force here. Now, weirdly, Cobalt decided to go save Moss Ravine by overpopping it. I wonder if they're just going to try and do redeploy side here and hop over to NC Arsenal, knowing that it's a long cap, that they can just move those guys back over.
9 Maxes are rushing into the high road station capture point, splitting into 2 forces. This is going to be interesting because I've seen no Maxes.
So
Surprise! Jackhammers, shotguns, hacksaws.
Interestingly, even with the interdiction we saw Connery do at Raven's Landing, which is called Nevermore for October, they abandoned the middle. In the next 12 seconds, the entire middle of the map will be taken by Cobalt basically for free. They just captured the ascent with, I didn't see a single fight there, and there is a small fight, I guess it's even pop at the moment, at Northcorp Central. But that's interesting. I mean, it seems like Connery made a play there and then just moved on. Maybe they were trying to psych Cobalt out.
This is fascinating. The repeated res grenades for the Vanu force currently defending High Road Station, there were a lot of Maxes, but the repeated res grenade shoot, res grenade shoot, res grenade shoot is grinding down the Maxes. I mean, who would have thought? Charge them with our bodies. More charging with bodies. It's working. Charge more bodies. But finally, the Vanu force is dead. They must have run out of res grenades. But they still have the point, though. This is actually quite important. There's 2 Vanu guys, 3 Vanu guys. They've still got the point with a minute 40 to go. Okay, maybe the galaxies and reinforcements and a motion sense for the Cobalt force will make a difference, but they've got to get this point. Yeah, there we go.
There was a small hack put on the Bastion by Cobalt. It didn't. I actually went over there looking for a squad. I think it was maybe a couple sneaky infiltrators. But now that they have 2 connections to that, I wonder if they try and throw themselves against that. It's a real gamble because Connery can basically let him sit there for several minutes and then come kick him off. But if you want to really hurt that gate, you have to kind of push into Bastion with what they have right now.
Yes, Bastion is critical for Connery. We'll have a quick look at the map. We can see that Cobalt is beginning to vie for it. They're starting to capture points. Now, if you look at the base, the way the map is right now, in the north, critically for the Cobalt force, they've got themselves NC Arsenal, although it is under attack and being lost, but it's a large outpost. They can come back and save it. They kind of have to make sure that the bases don't get too low, though, and they don't do last second saves as we saw last week. However, Cobalt is 1% or 2% in the lead. They have a slight lead, and critically for the neutral scenario, they have the Ascent and they have the NC Arsenal, so they're theoretically in the lead and winning now. But if they were to get the Bastion opens up so many possibilities, pushing up to West Foothills Air Dock, Deserted Mine Shaft, Deep Core Geolab, Hioka Armory. It offers an extra few bases of pushing. It is the linchpin in kind of the middle defense of Connery. Connery has decided, you know what, we're not going to get the Ascent, we're not going to fight at the Ascent, we'll apply maximum pressure on the tech plant, Barrack Electrical, try and get high roads, maybe get Cryobank, and in the north they got North Grove. They may push for Moss Ravine, Sungri Power Hub, maybe Sungri, and Connery we can see is trying to get NC Arsenal
at the tech plant. The NC got on the point at the tech plant, and they can't do anything at cargo facility now.
Oh, so they've kind of moved those 24 to 40 hostiles, yeah. And they do have about a squad of 12. It's probably 12, 13 people on the Tumas tech plant. But the fact is, that's a long 7-minute hack. You can afford, theoretically, to neglect that for a few minutes if you want to apply pressure elsewhere. And there's... Okay, so Connery does not want Cobalt any time on the Bastion hack. They've redeployed it. What must be a platoon worth? Yeah, it's easily a platoon. They're at number 2 to 1 Cobalt. Connery's just here and says, nope, it's our base, get out.
Cobalt has managed to get themselves a point at the NC Arsenal, making this now a 7-minute cap. Connery hasn't yet moved forces over here to take it back, and this was actually when Cobalt captured this base. Connery couldn't manage to get themselves onto this point. Cobalt has some very nice engineer turret placement, stopping anyone pushing in through these doors here.
Yeah, the air game is still same actually. Cobalt has a station force at high roads and around Lithcorp. But Connery, a few skirmishes, nothing really major. They're kind of in guerrilla mode.
So who would you say has current air dominance? Is it Cobalt or Connery?
Cobalt. Cobalt has air dominance and actually firmly established it at the beginning of the match.
And do you think, like, what kind of numbers are we talking here? Maybe a couple of squads, platoon of air throughout the continent?
We're talking at least a platoon. If I had to guess, I'd say that we're looking at 2 platoon.
Well, okay, even if it's a platoon, Connery is playing with more infantry in the ground then, assuming they're not doing it. Now, could they apply that pressure on the map? What do you think, Red?
Yeah, we actually saw that. We saw that at Barrack Electrical, where the air for Cobalt went down, and they killed, I don't know, there must have been 15 Sunders parked out there from Connery, but Connery was standing on the point, and the air couldn't do anything, especially at that base where it's so deep down. Now here, I'm at Moss Ravine. The air for Cobalt could affect this somewhat.
So many maxes in the capture point, though. With 5 or 6 maxes on the capture point at Moss Ravine. It doesn't look like... and the Reavers can't do anything from Cobalt. The problem is the nature of the base is very difficult to get an angle to fire in, and the capture building, you can't really fire in that at all. And it's a pretty murderous path for the Cobalt force to get inside. Presumably they'd want to force their way around this southern section and then maybe apply pressure and get inside, but it's such a murder hole with all those maxes. Probably the best thing to do is actually drop in the balcony.
Cobalt has decidedly jumped into the NC Arsenal fight. They are flashing all 3 points now and out-pop Connery here. It looks like Cobalt has decided to play redeploy side, and they seem to be doing it quicker than Connery is. It took Connery several minutes to figure out that they were behind him at Tumas Tech and get everyone to go kick him off the point. Cobalt seems to be maybe 30 seconds quicker with their redeploy side.
Well, Cobalt's finally picked off Connery's spawns, and there are some light assaults throwing smoke. This must be the push. They're applying pressure now, and without any reinforcements, it doesn't look like there's any beacons. This Connery force, 90 seconds to hold on to a point with a lot of your guys dead and your maxes. Oh, check the AV grenades. That's painful. And I think it's only a matter of seconds now before the Cobalt force comes in and just wipes off Connery. That is assuming they're ready to go in. Hey Max, you going? Come on, let's go. No? You want to go this way? Where are you going?
Another sizable Sunday ball moving up to NC Arsenal.
For who?
Trying to swat Reavers away, but doesn't look like it's working. Well, actually they're doing a pretty fair job holding off the Reavers.
Connery is set up at Tumas Cargo Plant as soon as they get connection. They have Sunders in onto the point, which will definitely help their hold. But they're just waiting.
Sunday ball just got obliterated by a gal drop.
I'm watching the NC Cobalt force save Moss Ravine, and someone needs to tell the Cobalt forces, congratulations, you took the point, because they're still throwing AV grenades in and TKing their own side, throwing res grenades, and then throwing more AV grenades. There's no one from Connery alive.
That's something I've noticed in the beginning. Their communication, I don't know what's going on with it. But
well, communication between specific squads themselves can be somewhat limited because you're within your own little squad for talk. Looks like there's fresh Sunders coming in from Connery. But when in doubt, Lanzer, throw more grenades. That's basically the rule.
Yeah, I guess so.
At Tumas Cargo Facility,
not taught somebody out.
At Tumas Cargo Facility, there was a 2 squads or 1 squad of Connery up on the point just waiting for that tech plant to get back in their favor, and they had 2 Sunders. Cobalt preemptively charged the point and killed off the 2 Sunders and killed everyone before the point flipped, so that was very good on-the-ball maneuvering by Cobalt there to save Tumas Cargo before it could have become a real problem.
Somebody has parked a Sundra in a horrendous under-the-vehicle exit at NC Arsenal for Connery. It means they only have one way out to do anything. And the Cobalt Air Force smells blood in the water, and they were bombarding them with ground attacks, and they're keeping them pinned in. This is a large force of ground forces just being pinned in one exit, and they're turning to anti-air and anti-vehicle to do something about it, but this is a waste of time. They're really just not doing anything productive right now. I mean, look at all those people there in the minimap just doing nothing, being pinned in because of the Sunder placement. Now, yes, it's safe, but realistically they need to spawn to the southern one that's just got picked up. Lithcorp looks like it's being saved. Bastion attack is over. Tumas Cargo Facility 50-50, but we see that the fight has moved to the tech plant again, and Barrack Electrical is being attacked. Actually, both points are being attacked, High Road Station and Barrack Electrical. So we're going to go south and have a look at that.
There is one light assault here at High Road Station. He just got killed by an infiltrator. And I don't know if he didn't know that there was an infiltrator there because he got shot at and then he put his beacon down. And the infiltrator just said, "Oh, thank you, I'll kill that beacon." And the poor guy's squad couldn't come join him.
It would appear that the capture point on the tech plant was just a distraction. But it did justify pulling in at least 2 or 3 squads of, as we see on the minimap for Connery, to come back. They pulled their entire force, bar perhaps one squad, from Tuma's cargo facility to respond to the tech plant. I mean, I'm not saying that was overkill, but it was close to extreme overkill. So whatever that team did at Tuma's tech plant, that worked really well, because now this Cobalt force that's at Tuma's cargo facility, they can afford to push out fresh vehicles, fresh air, whatever they need to at this base, and then move out and get the fight off their base. So it served its purpose, in the very least, of taking pressure off.
Far, what do you think? You think they should abandon some of these Reaver?
It depends, because right now the bases haven't changed.
They're doing fine as it is.
They're doing fine. The bases haven't changed. Cobalt has a tiny lead, and I mean tiny lead, of 1 base. And then assuming it can be neutral, actually Cobalt has a 2-base lead, technically speaking, because if Connery gets a base, it'll go from 50-48 to 49-49. And because Cobalt has got themselves the Ascent and the NC Arsenal, they actually have a 2-base lead, in theory. So
yes, they own the tiebreak.
I'm not saying they can play passive. They definitely want to be aggressive, and they definitely want to get themselves back electrical. But ultimately, you know, they do have a larger buffer than what it might seem. I guess what I'm getting at.
And actually, they are pushing in the north now at North Grove Post, and this looks like it seems like the numbers are always just slightly in their favor, and I wonder if that is just they're really good at using that air ball, moving it around into the base that it needs to be, and showing more pop at that base. As long as you actually have people on the point, your air can be incredibly powerful. The problem becomes when you send air to try and do things that you need somebody on the point to do. You send both of them, and you'll devastate everything.
Seems like their air is slow to react. That's what I'm saying. I think there's a communication.
If there's going to be a delay in passing up the command chain line, then it being relayed to air disengaging from their current objective, flying to the new objective, and then assisting. It's how quickly you can make that request to kind of reduce the time lag between request and assistance.
Connery is pushing back onto the point of North Grove Post. There are a lot of NC here, though, and they are very good at taking out these Sunders. Connery's trying to make their life easier by parking Sunders close to the point, and NC is having none of it. Cobalt is very good about flowing Sundies right now.
The Connery force at Barrack Electrical is applying pressure with Maxes and infantry, and it looks like they're going to get the capture point back, because it's really only an infantry force defending the capture point.
NC pushing at North Grove.
Yeah, I'm here at North Grove, and there are a ton of NC. They must have just reinforced here. I just saw extra 2 squads run into the point. Yeah, they outpop Connery up here a lot now, although Connery is back on NC Arsenal. Now, the Cobalt is using NC Arsenal the way that Connery is using the Bastion. They're letting Connery pop sync there and then coming in and knocking him off at the end.
Also, with regards to the tech plant, it looks like the Cobalt force has been sidestepped. Cobalt is on the tech plant, but Connery is on Tuma's cargo facility, and the Tuma's cargo facility is ticking down. So it's Cobalt that's going to be after the ones this time that falls back. Oh, 1 minute 50 seconds to go on North Grove. That's a healthy amount of well, I say it's a healthy amount of time for the attackers. The defenders, they're limited. Yes, it's 2 minutes, and yes, 2 minutes in a battle is a long time. Double Sunder push, maybe get some squad spawn-ins. Maybe these Sunders go to the door in this double building to spawn in. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Cobalt Air is coming in to help down over at North Grove, so...
You can't go through there. What are you doing, sir? Can't help but think that's the wrong gun setup. Bulldog Walker against an infantry. You went double Fury, perhaps. He's trying to be a deploy Sunder. Oh, he's just totally been swarmed. The Connery force not getting a break. Well, maybe this Cobalt gonna have to back into the building because Connery is actually coming on infantry on the ground. But with 60 seconds to go, Cobalt's doing the right job. They are keeping the fight off the capture point. The last thing you want to do is just naturally fall back to one building and then just get grenade held to, you know, the Stone Age. The Connery forces pushed into the main building, the north building of the capture point. It looks like they also possibly have Maxes pushing into the capture point itself as well. No, they're on the ground floor. With 40 seconds to go, Cobalt has actually got a much harder time than we think. So many grenades are now pushing in, as we were saying, because they are being grenaded and absolutely destroyed. They need to counter grenade and get these defenders, or these attackers back, but it's too much. And with 30 seconds to go, I mean, yes, it's 30 seconds, but that isn't close. Close is like 3 seconds. That last 15 seconds is always a mad dash. I mean, they're trying to res their guys up, but pressure is being applied on both entrances now, and yeah, the Connery force just got it.
Cargo facility, and it looks like just at the last moment here, just by attrition, most of the Connery force on the point was killed. They still have 1 Max and a couple of people up here, but they got to get back quickly if they're going to be able to hold this.
Very interesting, Connery. Even though they're not able to totally face the Cobalt Air Force, they're doing some pretty great small unit tactics with their size out by Rock's Slide and Bastion.
Big reinforcement of the squad. Oh, the Cobalt squad got to the capture point before the Connery squad did, and crucially, because they own the base, they also brought Maxes. It's like bringing a gun and a bazooka to a knife fight. It's just, nah, you're totally outclassed. And the Connery squad that was running up to the capture point just got caught off, and then had the low ground, and it just ended badly.
So props to the Connery pilots for at least holding on.
Oh, Barrack Electrical's ticking down again, so let's have a look there.
Yeah, I'm here right now, and there is a large NC force down there, and Connery is just now starting their push in. They seem to not be quite grouping up, and they don't have a whole lot of Maxes that I saw coming down the stairs. Maybe they're going for grenade spam.
See, the problem is that, yeah, Cobalt is, right now with the current tactics, they're just stalling. They're being a nuisance, they're slowly getting the ticker down, and they just keep applying pressure at this base. So long as Cobalt fights on the enemy base, doesn't matter if they don't get it or not, so long as we fight on the enemy base, we're not fighting on our base. And they're doing a great job at Barrack Electrical, North Grove Post. The only thing is they need to make a save of Racks of Combat at small numbers and NC Arsenal. If they can fight, let's say, at the Augur or the Bastion instead, then the Cobalt force is doing great. However, I would like to see perhaps more of an emphasis on spawn protection from the Cobalt forces, because Connery is doing an exceptionally good job at just going to a base, seeing where the spawns are for the defenders, picking the spawns off because nobody's defending them at all, and then once the spawns are picked off, they just naturally encroach onto the capture point and take it because they have enough time.
I don't know that you can do this. Someone is attempting to bring a Sunderer down to the point of Barrack Electrical. Somebody from VS is attempting to drive the Sunderer down. I didn't know that you could do this.
Oh wow, they are actually... It's the walkway, it's got to be doable. Surely he can get on... He needs to move more to his right, because his rear tire is there. Okay, he's got... Oh my god, who brings...
Connery bomber push into 2 Moss cargo.
Oh, he's deployed it. That is ruthless. Complete immunity to vehicles, complete immunity to air. Why has he got anti-air guns on? It should be like double Furies in this instance, but never mind. And it should be a deployment Sunder, but that's cool. I like that. I did not know you could do that. That is awesome. That's going to give a ridiculous advantage to the defenders. With 60 seconds to go, Cobalt could have theoretically gotten this, although it's unlikely. They may have extra spawns and we're reducing extra reinforcements. I don't think they realise that there is a Sundra on the other wall. There's a Sundra on the other side, and that means unlimited grenades and fresh maxes at the instant, and the respawn time is tiny.
I think that might be a vehicle Bob moment right there. We have yet to see a vehicle Bob.
Hey, look at this, 30 seconds to go, and they're not getting in. Reinforcements are streaming in from Cobalt. Even though they've got the Sundra, they should be charging in. They should just run around the corner and go. Don't fight on the point. I understand that first people will die, but it's the Cobalt force that's applying pressure. They're gonna get the... Oh, did they attack from the other side? Yeah, they did attack from the other side. Those are crucial, precious seconds. And the Cobalt force had to turn around, go back to the point. This allows the Connery force, in theory, to come... What are you afraid of? There's one Max! Go around. There we go. This is a Max with some balls. He actually charged forward, and his friends then followed. It takes one guy to chart the charge, and there we go, they make a save. Cobalt, it's not that Cobalt did well, it's that Connery did poorly there. Cobalt nearly got the base from what was an extremely good Connery play with the Sunder. The actual infantry in the play in the ground was they're far too hesitant. Oh, there's a Max around the corner, shotguns, I don't want to be first. No, they should have just charged round and been first guy. Anyway, there you go, base saved.
So, Recursion VS just took Araxicom Network Hub. This is the first time I've seen Cobalt be late to a resecure. They were about 5 seconds late with a Max crash trying to get in here. They come a little bit early, they probably would have saved this base. And here their error is showing up now too, a little bit late. The point is still a little bit under contention, but it looks like Recursion has gotten back up with some
so we are actually on tied percentages. Cobalt is still technically in the lead, but they have lost the base. And is this crack showing in the Cobalt defenses? Because they have lost the base. There are not that many active elements going on. They're fighting at the Bastion. Okay, yes, the fight's not at Lithcorp, but they've lost Araxicom Network. They've got a save, or the save going into the Arsenal. They're applying pressure on Northgrove. If they get that plays out. But the fact is, this entire defending force on Araxicom Network can go back up to Northgrove, so it's not an indicative of anything. Because there's about 5 fights going on, and to lose a base, it's really good work from the Connery forces, and they're that one step closer now to getting in the lead.
Northgrove is a huge danger for Connery right now. There are so many NC here that they have managed to... They're no longer defending the point, they're defending the buildings toward the spawn. They are at spawn containment.
Which is the right thing to do. In fact,
there's so much air out here.
I'm looking at the capture point, and I see 2 squads in the capture point. That is wrong. They should not be in the capture point. They should be doing a spawn room contain. That means you are watching the teleporter building, which is this part here. You are watching the exit of the vehicle bay, and you are getting as close to the spawn room as you possibly can. This defensive force, there's way too many in the capture point. They need to push out. They have complete air control, and the reason, because of complete air control, that affords them the ability to push out. There will be no drop pods or mass galaxy drop-ins to take the point back, which means this defending force needs to get outside and guarantee that the Connery force can't come out. They fight away from the point, spread out in a large concave arc so that grenades are less effective in the open. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't get the base anyway because of the overwhelming air presence. It's just that they could be doing a better job.
Show them.
So Trident and perhaps some other outfits from Cobalt have tried to galaxy drop on Araxicom Network Hub, but Connery had not yet left yet, so we're able to very quickly resecure this. I'm waiting to see if they have maybe some better spawns than the spawn drop beacons and galaxies that they came in with. If not, I don't know if they're going to get in here.
Population-wise, NC still has advantage. NG has advantage, but they're letting the VS come into the building and get to the door. Now, ultimately, have so many people, it doesn't matter, but it's essentially a narrow room. If the Connery forces had more guys or more grenades with bandoliers, they could saturate this capture point with grenades, which is, what we're seeing. There's just not enough grenades, not enough infantry. Too many people on one point. This is bad defensive play. They're going to get it, don't get me wrong, but it's bad defensive play.
Cobalt has also decided to drop a force onto the tech plant. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Connery panics with this. They did earlier, but this is a tech plant. You can let them sit here for a few minutes. You can use your forces elsewhere and then come back. However, I do notice that Connery has repaired the vehicle terminals, so that is not a good thing from the standpoint of trying to defend this.
This is turning out to be pretty razor close, because we are, maybe just under 40 minutes into the game, and Cobalt has reattained their 2-base lead. With the capture of Northgrove, but the fact is Northgrove is so close to the warp gate, and they've already started to push on Lithcorp Fortress, so that's interesting. So they're applying pressure, keeping up. They want to perhaps push to a cannon biolab. Biolabs with NC, it's going to affect them, but obviously they don't have defender's advantage. The tech plant is ticking down as well. They have a 2-to-1 population. They've sidestepped at least half a platoon of Vanu Connery at Tuma's cargo facility. The Barrack Electrical has been properly saved. There's a half a platoon at Barrack Electrical, and there's no one really at High Road, so we have to see what the VS does. Now, at the halfway marker, we'll just bring up some interesting stats. If you show the map timeline, this will tell you how close it is. Check this out. It is nothing between these guys. They get a base, the next guy gets a base. Base, 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 and these are the neutral bases out of the way, and then it is just up and down, one base between them going back and forth this whole 40-minute period. So it's still super, super close on this map.
This is not a ghost hack at the Bastion. The Bastion actually has at least one squad, maybe 2 squads of NC that are attempting to at least be a nuisance here.
the Auger. I'm going to go check out the Auger. Now, we're also looking at the kill graph right now. So, the Connery force was actually in the lead by a good, let's say a few thousand, right? Or no, actually, more about 100, 150 kills in the lead. But the the Cobalt force picked up, and it's going back. Okay, so but the thing is, the gap here, guys, is only about 100 kills. It's close. I mean, so although kills don't necessarily tell us, who's performing, because often you'll see some factions with the least kills actually gets more progress. It's close. Leaderboard. Wow, top player already has 372 kills. That's insane.
That has to be air.
Which faction?
Well, I'll check the outfits. No, maybe that's wrong. I think the player stats are wrong. It doesn't really matter. We're looking at the outfits. Bravo Air for Service Smash. You the teams. Future Crew's got some stats. The main thing here is weapons. Surprise, surprise. Redlid, what is the top weapon kill in the game right now?
I'm assuming it's not the Spiker.
No, it's not the Spiker. Actually, I'm going to have a look to see if anyone gets a Spiker kill. Looks like some anti-air flight going on the Auger. Oh yes, we got reinforcements from Connery Force trying to come in. There's only a small kind of token defensive team for the NC Cobalt. No, it's the Orion. The Orion is currently sitting at 1,500 kills. The Anchor is currently at 700. The anti-vehicle grenades are on 500-ish, and then it goes through the other kind of list of kind of weapons. In terms of vehicles, see the Reavers are way 3 times as many kills as the Scythes. Then comes Galaxy Sunders, Turrets, Liberators, Vanguards, Harassers, Lightnings, few Mag Riders. Actually, Valkyries have got 9 kills. You believe that? I'm quite impressed.
At the Auger, it looks like Connery finally pushed the other bridge. It looked like there was a fight over only one bridge, and I was going to ask Connery why they hadn't decided to go the other direction, but it looks like they were holding them and are trying to push this way, although they're not managing to get to the door yet, so...
Well, minute 40 seconds to go on the Auger. The Cobalt force, correctly, is fighting outside the capture point. They're trying to apply pressure to the Connery force. The thing is, they've just got more reinforcements streaming in, and they have fresh consumables, firing conch grenades, and just slowly pushing back. And the problem with dying outside, if you don't have the right support, you are then unable to be rezzed instantly, and the res grenades have less of an impact. And just the overwhelming numbers from Connery is pushing in on the Auger. Okay, I say overwhelming, 56-44, but they're just applying pressure, and they're on the point. It's just a rolling wave that the Cobalt force can't stop. It's a nice attack though. It does secure the NC Arsenal. Lithgort Fortress, 2-1, and it's still ticking down. Looks like the capture point was briefly delayed. I gotta say, I love the nighttime kind of lighting effects on some of these bases.
It's interesting. It looks like Cobalt tried to drop on Barrack Electrical Station, and I think they wanted to maybe hack a Sunder out. However, Connery has blown the vehicle terminal here, so the only way that these NC at Barrack Electrical can survive is on Beacon, which is easily killed because they can't go protect it. However, there isn't a concerted effort from Connery to push down here yet. I haven't yet seen a max crasher. There seems to be a conga line forming right now to maybe push in, but this might have been something they could have just stopped.
Building.
So we're at Lithgort Fortress right now, and it's very, very nice defense, or sorry, let me say attack/defense by the attackers as the Cobalt Force. They've basically split their team into holding the 2 double buildings and the capture point with a token force, and it's working really well for them, because if they were to defend one building, the teleport building from the spawns would take the defenders to the other